Yo guys, what is up? My name is Jeracraft and welcome back to Kingdoms of Greymane. Guys, it has now been almost 7 years since my first ever video on this project.
Hello guys, Jeracraft here. This is actually my first video with Mike.
Yeah, that was a very long time ago, but we've definitely made a lot of progress since then. So if this is your first time ever checking out this series, then this is the best time to start watching, because the plan for today's video is to show you guys around the entire Kingdoms of Greymane map, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest progress. Apart from that, we are going to be doing some building, updates and transformations as we progress throughout this tour. So if you guys are ready, let's begin today's epic Minecraft adventure. Right guys, now before we begin today's journey, let's take a look at the Kingdoms of Greymane map. I do want to take things nice and slow and hopefully make an extra long video as you guys have been requesting. We're going to start off with the Dockyard, then gradually make our way into the sewers, which is buried underneath these mountains. Hopefully we can connect the sewers to the main kingdom, then follow the river upstream to explore the rest of the main city. And finally we're going to venture into the mountain, which, surprise surprise, needs a serious bit of work. But let's just see how much we can get done in one episode. There are also these two buildings up in the distance, which honestly I have no idea what they are, but we will get to explore that later on in this episode. Now when you first arrive at the Dockyard, the very first building you're going to come across is of course the lighthouse. Now most of this area was already recently transformed, so there's not much we need to do apart from adding some new blocks. The lighthouse was also completely empty, so this time around I've built the interior, adding a small kitchen and living quarters. But honestly guys, there's just not a lot of space in here, just enough for some of the essentials. And of course, I've made sure to build a staircase leading up to the top of the tower. Now I have been looking over some of your comments, trying to incorporate as many of your suggestions as possible, and someone did mention updating the ocean floor now that we're using the aquatic update. So I've pretty much got rid of most of the ocean and redecorated the seabed. I mean, I really love this new look. It makes the ocean feel like a more meaningful place to explore. Maybe in the future we can also add some ruins and shipwrecks up in the distance. Now apart from that, we can also redecorate some of the ships using the latest blocks. Most of these boats are just trading, transporting goods, water ships and IKEA birds, but honestly I do have to admit I'm not the best when it comes to building ships, but I do want some sort of variation, so I've decided to reuse one of my old creations built during the massive tree project, which I think fits well with the general theme, and maybe they could represent some sort of military ships instead. Now I'm not going to redecorate the entire Dockyard because we do have a lot to cover in today's video, but I've added a few street lamps, barrels and a few other details to make the Dockyard feel busy and full of life. Now there's definitely one feature I've been wanting to add for years and I have no idea why I still haven't gotten around to it, but I mean, seeing as we have this neat looking river canal cutting through the village, I think it would make sense to build a waterfall flowing down from the mountain above. I also built a path and I really wanted this road to feel like a beautiful place to travel through with a decent looking bridge cutting across the river. But we still have to decide what this path could actually lead to. We could either travel underground or continue the path upwards into the mountains, so I'll let you guys share your ideas in the comments below. Right guys, so the entrance into the Undercity sewers can be found alongside the Dockyard. Now at first I thought having a cave entrance would be fine, but it would make more sense to build a gatehouse as we don't want any random people finding their way into the city. I've also redecorated the cave tunnel, getting rid of those blocky redstone lamps and replacing them with lanterns. You can also use stone slabs, pressure plates and buttons to really add some detail to your caves. Now, some of you might not like this next transformation, but trust me, it's going to be worth it, because now that we have the aquatic update, we can get rid of the green stained glass and use water instead and actually change the biome into swampland. This obviously makes the water look green and just filthy looking. I really did spend a lot of time in this place, and I was just ecstatic with this new look, and pretty much transformed the entire sewage system. I've even used green wool and carpets to make it seem like there's mold just floating and growing alongside the walls, which was one of my favorite new details that you could probably use to decorate ponds and maybe even fountains. Now, the best part is that you can now take a swim in this dirty sewage water. I mean, not that you would want to, but honestly, I do prefer the green moldy water other than stained glass. This version just makes the sewer feel a lot more realistic. Now, the three main waterfalls are supposed to lead to the main city, but right now all we have is a big empty cave. So what we're going to do is redesign this area and build a completely new underground sewage system. I've pretty much connected the three main sewer pipes, and what I really love about this design is you can actually travel through the sewers and find your way into the main city. The crazy coincidence is that this drain cover actually lines up right in the center of the main road, right in front of the castle. But for now, there are a total of 3 different entrances hidden around the city. Right guys, so next up we have the outer city slums, which will span across both sides of the river leading up into the main city. I really want this entire place to feel overcrowded, with houses just stacking on top of each other. Kind of like the old content we got rid of in the last episode, but this time around even better. First of all, let me get rid of this random pile of sand, which must have been some sort of world edit mistake. But obviously, I won't be able to build the entire outer city in one episode, because just this one corner took me over 5 hours to put together, but at least I can give you guys a general idea of what this is going to look like once it's all complete. Now, I really do love this new style, and it may just seem like 1 or 2 buildings put together, but in fact there's actually a total of around 10 different houses surrounding this area. I especially love these elevated houses, which you can only access using a rope ladder. Now, to give you guys an idea of what the interiors could look like if we actually go into this building, you can see we have this small cute looking shop, probably selling today's fresh merchandise. And if we actually go up this ladder, the shopkeeper can also have his own living quarters with a pretty decent view overlooking the river. I mean, just imagine what this place would look like once I fill this entire world with buildings. But for now guys, let's continue upstream and start transforming the river using the aquatic update. I've also built walls along both sides of the river, and honestly, building walls is one of the most time-consuming parts of this project, especially when you're using all sorts of little details like buttons and trapdoors, but it's going to be worth setting this up for the next time we get to transforming the outer city. Now, there is also this other cave entrance, which used to be the original way of getting into the sewers, so we can definitely get rid of this as it doesn't really make much sense anyway. And if you guys actually take a dive into the river, you might just find this secret pipeline which you can actually swim through. This will take you all the way back into the sewers, which is just a crazy new way of being able to travel and explore different areas of the map, which by the way is starting to look a whole lot better with the newly updated content. Right guys, now there's not much to talk about when it comes to the main city that I haven't already mentioned in the last episode, but I'm pretty much in the process of getting rid of all the old content and actually start introducing some of the new buildings like the ones we built a couple of weeks ago. I've also noticed changing the sewer biome into swampland has actually changed the color of the mountain into a darker shade of green, which I'm not really too happy about, but we can always build on top or change some of the grass blocks into stone. For now, I've decided to build a second military training ground, introducing another archery range, as well as some training dummies and a small blacksmith area. Now the city itself will be divided into different sections, introducing a market area, military buildings, housing, as well as a plaza alongside the cathedral. Which, by the way, could use a bit of a transformation, especially when it comes to the interior, which at the moment is completely empty. Now this episode has taken way longer than I expected, but at least we finally made it past the 10-minute video mark, which we practically never do when it comes to these epic transformations, simply because these videos take a very long time to put together. So we're going to continue this tour in the next episode, but if you were wondering what those two mystery buildings were, one was actually a tavern I built many years ago, which maybe we could transform this entire area into a small mountaintop village, hopefully sometime in the future. The next building was actually a castle, which was built as part of a tutorial video. But guys, thank you very much for watching the entire video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. This is Jeracraft, over and out.